Hey book nerds, it is the most wonderful time of the year. It is the time of the year where spookiness abounds, where horror reading is perfectly acceptable and in fact encouraged. And I am here with all of your spooky reads, your horror reads, all of the things that come with books and the spooky time of year that it is. October is the most wonderful time of the year. It is my favorite time of the year. I love everything Halloween. I love everything spooky, and it never goes away for me. It is spooky and awesome all year round for me. I have skulls and witch hats and demons and devils all over my house, whatever the time of year, but October is when we really kick off the fun stuff. So today I have your October spooky reads. And this is the list that I have been talking about and I have been teasing you guys with. And today it all comes to fruition. So I have my list. I have my laptop. I have some physical copies. There are, I believe I counted 23 of them. Some of them I have read, some of them I have not, and are on my TBR for this spooky season. And so let's jump right into it. All right, we're kind of going to split this up into categories somewhat. So I've got true horror books. Then I've got kind of haunted house, ghosts, hauntings, those type of books. And then lastly, I've got kind of those dark, gothic, not necessarily academia, but just like the true gothic, think Victorian era vibes. Not necessarily has to be set in the Victorian era, but just giving those kind of gothic-y vibes. So those are our categories that we're going to do, and we're going to start with horror. The first book I have for you is called Horror Store. This is by Grady Hendrix. I have not read this book. However, Grady Hendrix is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have read a lot of his books and have loved his books. He is a very unique author. The way that he tells his stories is, it's almost satire. It's almost making fun of the horror genre because it's funny, but it's definitely creepy and it's definitely like weird and not right. So this one is called Horror Store. And from the picture and from the way he has spelled horror store, I think you can guess that this is going to be about kind of, think IKEA but haunted. Okay, are you reviving here? This book is absolutely spectacular. Look at the illustrations and the design of this book. Do you feel like you're walking into IKEA already? Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? The whole book is like that. It's full of illustrations. It's full of, oh my gosh, Orsic. Orsic is the name of our store, obviously not IKEA, but it's a play on IKEA, Orsic. And basically the premise of this book, oh, my ring light is giving you kind of a reflection there. Anyway, look at the back of that. Isn't that fantastic? So Horror Store is about Orsic, this big, huge furniture store. I mean, think levels of furniture, think IKEA, okay? But this is Orsic, okay? And Orsic is having problems because every time they come in the morning, things have been vandalized. Furniture has been broken. Windows have been broken. It looks like there are thieves and vandals that are coming in, criminals every night, and vandalizing their store. And they are losing stock. They are losing customers. They are losing money. And for a big box store like Orsic, losing money is a big fat no-no. So, a group of employees volunteer to work an overnight shift to see if they can figure out what is going on and hopefully catch these criminals in the act. Because even their security footage is catching nothing. And yet, in the morning when they come in, it's a mess. So, this group of employees decide that they are going to get their sleeping bags. So this group of employees decides that they are going to take the overnight shift. They are going to figure out what is going on and report back. Unfortunately, things do not go well. And it doesn't give a whole lot of details, but apparently there's some shady stuff, hauntings, weird noises. The next one we have is called How to Survive Camping, The Man with No Shadow. And this is by Bonnie Quinn. I have not read this book, but I am super excited to read it. It is on my TBR. This is a fantastic book. It's very kind of old journal, old diary looking. I'm very intrigued and very excited to read it. This book is it says a campy, cozy. How is horror cozy? A campy, cozy horror novel about the manager of a haunted campground just trying to get through the season. So basically, each chapter starts us off with a rule of the campground. And you don't, yes, rules to help you survive your camping experience. And it's basically do not leave your ring of fire at dark. Do not go out alone in the forest at dark. And if someone comes in to your campfire, a friendly neighborhood camper comes into your campfire and he casts no shadow, you need to get up and run. The Man with No Shadow. Anyway, I am absolutely thrilled to be able to have this on my TBR. I can't wait to read this. It doesn't give me like gory horror, like that type of thing. It gives me I don't even know what it gives me. Cozy, campy. If a horror book can be cozy and campy, I'm super excited to read this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And so this is on my TBR and I'm excited to read it. How to Survive Camping, The Man with No Shadow by Bonnie Quinn. Okay, next up we have The Library at Hellborn. This is by Cassandra Kaw. And this is about, it's kind of gives me mythical vibes, supernatural vibes, very fantasy. The Library at Hellborn is a place where people go that have very strong supernatural powers. The World Eaters, the Death Bringers, just these hugely, overwhelmingly bad, world ending powers, they all go to the library at Hellborn, where they are told that they will be accepted, they will not be rejected, they will have community, they will have others there that will help them learn, help them understand themselves. And this is about a girl who is enrolled at Hellborn with all of these other very strong, powerful, I don't even want to call them like witches or anything. I'm just going to call them supernaturals because I don't know really what else to call them. But she is there in this school. And, she's thinking after graduation, my life is going to begin. I'm going to have these opportunities. I'm going to be able to go forth and be a very healthy, well-rounded citizen. I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to utilize everything that I've learned here in school at Hellborn, and I am going to make myself a member of my community. That is not what happens. The night after graduation, the faculty at Hellborn go on a horrifying cannibalistic spree and kill and eat all of the students. And so this girl has hidden herself and a handful of other students in the library at Hellborn, and they're trying to survive this horrible thing that is happening, this horrifying state of affairs that is going on this night. And so that is what this book is about. It says, "This school will eat you alive." Anyway, I'm excited to read this one. That is The Library at Hellborn by Cassandra Cross. What we're going to talk about is The September House. This one I have read. I actually read it a couple of years ago for my spooky season. Excellent book. Normally, when we talk about like haunted houses, those type of books, the people that are either moving in or they've inherited this house or whatever, they go into it ignorant, where they don't know that it's haunted. And then the story evolves around, oh my gosh, my house is haunted. There's these weird things going on. What is happening? Who's haunting me? On an, etc. And that is our story. In the September house, that is not our story. This story revolves around a couple who, when they bought the house, they were told and knew full well that this house is haunted. And all of these strange things happen, and they knew full well going into it. So there's like no surprises for this couple. They know and choose to stay anyway. Margaret and her husband Hal, and they have bought this Victorian house. It is their dream house, and Margaret absolutely loves this house. They know it's haunted. They have been told that every September the hauntings culminate, and at its peak of haunting awfulness will start in September, and then throughout the month it will be horrible, awful, terrible. The walls bleed, the ghosts, terrible sounds, and don't ever open up the door to the basement in September. And as long as you follow these rules, everything is fine. The rest of the year, you kind of get, there's a ghost here and there. They're not bad. They're kind of friendly ghosts. They're not, it's not terrible. Things kind of go bump in the night, but it's not bad. And that kind of goes on, for 11 months of the year. But September is when it really culminates, and you really have to pay attention to the rules, because if you don't pay attention to the rules, then things are just going to go downhill. Well, Margaret and Hal have lived in this house for years. They've followed all the rules. Nothing bad has happened. So what's the big deal? Well, it's really taking a toll on Hal's mental health, and he's out of here. He can't take it anymore. So he leaves, but Margaret refuses. This is her dream house. She's not leaving. One of the ghosts that haunts this house is one of her good friends. She doesn't want to leave her. And so Margaret is stubborn, and she's staying. She doesn't care. She's followed the rules, and she loves her home. Well, her daughter, her grown daughter, calls her mom and wants to come and visit. Unfortunately, her visit is going to coincide with September. And so Margaret is not exactly sure what to do. She doesn't know how to explain the bleeding walls. She doesn't know how to explain the ghosts or the awful, horrible things that go on in this house in September to her non-believing daughter. She also does not know how to explain why her dad, her daughter's dad, is no longer in the home and has left. And so it's this fantastic book, and we have this horror story. We definitely have a haunting, but we already knew that going into it. So we definitely have that aspect of the book that is absolutely horrifying. It's creepy, it's gory in some places, so check your trigger warnings. It's absolutely horrifying what happens in this house. But then we also have the story of the emotional turmoil of Margaret and of her daughter, and how they're trying to navigate this broken family. And mental health plays a lot of roles in this book. And is Margaret the one in the wrong for wanting to stay in this home? She loves her home. Is it wrong for her to want to stay? Is she the reason why this marriage is broken? And is she the one that now is going to be causing her daughter so much pain? And it's a very emotional book, but not really for the reasons you think it's going to be. But it's also a very creepy, haunting, just tingly, scary book. It's very, very good. She is an excellent writer, Carissa Orlando. This is the only book I've ever read from her. It's an excellent book, though. I highly recommend it for your spooky season. You will not be disappointed. That's The September House. Exorcist's House. I have read this one. This is by Nick Roberts. Excellent book. Very creepy, very scary. This book will take you on a roller coaster ride of tension, and just you're on the edge of your seat the whole time in this book. I am actually going to be rereading this book. I read it several years ago because the sequel to this book is out. It is called Genesis. And so I'm going to be rereading The Exorcist so that then I can read Genesis and kind of have that syncopatic timeline so that I know everything that's going on and all of the details. So let me tell you about The Exorcist House. So it's set in the 90s, 1994. Love anything set in the 90s. It takes me back. I love the 90s. I miss the 90s. Anywho, a family buys this rustic farmhouse in the middle of Ohio. They're super excited about it. They move in. They are delighted by just the rustic charm of this house, of the land. It is beautiful. They're very excited to be able to renovate and fix up this old farmhouse, make it their own, make it special, make it theirs. And in the process of kind of doing the work and kind of going through deciding what needs to be done, what are their priorities, what needs fixed first, those types of things, they make their way down into the basement and find this locked door that, I mean, most of the time, like when you go through a house to buy a house, right? You walk through it a couple of times, like you're reading the realtor's description. Like this door was nowhere in any of that. So they discover this hidden basement door that is locked. So they're like, okay, is this like a water heater? Like, what the heck is this? So anyway, they break it open and they discover a well in the middle of this room, and it is just festooned to the nines with crucifixes. So obviously bad things are happening. are happening, have happened in the past in this house. And it is just that is the beginning of this book, and it is a wild ride from there on out. It is horrifyingly creepy and terrifying, and just tension on the edge of your seat. What is going to happen next? Oh my gosh, the mom and dad have gone to town for screws, and the kids are left in the house, and what is happening? And I mean, it's very, very scary and has so much tension in it. I loved this book. This book was great. I am very excited to reread it, to familiarize myself with it again, and then read the next book, which is called Genesis. The next one is called Wonderland. This is by Jennifer Hiller. Some of you may have read Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hiller. She is a thriller writer. So I don't know that I would necessarily say that she's a horror writer, because she's not. But this particular book, Wonderland, gives me horror vibes. I have read this book. I read it several years ago as part of my spooky reads. It is amazing. It's wonderful. It's very much psychological thriller, but it combines it with horror elements that are really creepy and sometimes really yucky. And so those two combined together make for a stellar book. So this is kind of, I mean, Wonderland, right? It's kind of giving you haunted carnival or haunted amusement park vibes. So we have Wonderland. It's the summertime, and Wonderland is an amusement park, and strange things are occurring at Wonderland this summer. Um, there was a dead body left in the middle of the fairway, not just dead, but like dead and rotting and decomposing. No idea where it came from. It just appeared one morning. This book follows Vanessa. She has just gotten a job as the deputy chief of police in this town where Wonderland is. And obviously, she is called in when this dead body is discovered in the fairway. And this is her first case. I mean, she basically shows up for her first day and ends up in Wonderland. Woohoo! Way to start off her job, right? So anyway, this is her. This is kind of told from her point of view, and also the point of view of a teenage girl who gets a summer job at Wonderland. And so we have the summer worker, her point of view, and then we have the deputy chief of police. It's a brand new job for her, so we have her point of view as to what's going on. And it's just, so Vanessa, the deputy chief of police, is trying to understand what is going on with this dead body. She does not believe in ghosts. She's a very logical thinker. And so she's trying to look at this case from a police point of view, a procedural point of view, and who is this person? Who is this dead person? Why are there so many missing person cases of workers and visitors and tourists from Wonderland? Why is Wonderland this basically massive place of missing people, dead people, violent? Like, what is going on in Wonderland? So she's trying to procedurally understand what's going on here. And then we have our summer worker, this teenage girl who works in Wonderland and who is experiencing all of the creepy, weird things that are happening there. And at the end, it culminates in this big explosion of, oh my gosh, that's what's going on. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is horrible. And it makes for a really exciting conclusion. But until you get there, you're back and forth. You're like, wait, is this place haunted? Wait, what's going on? Is it not haunted? Is somebody doing this? Wait, no, it's got to be haunted. And so you kind of go back and forth with trying to figure out, is it, isn't it? How is this happening? And so it's an excellent book. It's very thrilling, very psychological thriller, but it's got these horror elements that make it super interesting. So that is Wonderland by Jennifer Hiller. And then last for our horror genre category, we have How Bad Things Can Get by Darcy Coates. Darcy Coates is one of my absolute favorite authors. Read anything from her this spooky season, just literally anything. And it's fantastic. She is a wonderful, spooky, creepy. I'm going to talk about a couple of her other books here in just a minute when we switch categories, but she's a wonderful kind of terror, tension, icky, creepy author. She's wonderful. And this is one of her newest ones. It's called How Bad Things Can Get. And it's basically about a group of people. It's an online influencer, and like hundreds of his fans get together on this remote, deserted island. And they're going to go there for a just party. They're going to have games, drinking, laying out in the sun. It's basically this influencer is throwing this party for all of his fans to thank them, and to, let's all get together and let's all have this great big party. And so come on, remote desert island. I'm thinking Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians. That's the only thing that's going through my mind right now, but which is a great book. Highly recommend that one. But anyway, we have the point of view that this story is told from is Ruth, and Ruth has a terrible past. She was part of a cult, think Jonestown, where the cult, mass suicide, mass murder. The leader was terrible, horrible, terrifying leader who killed all of his followers. She is the only survivor of this cult and actually managed to get away. And she is trying to leave her past in the past and move on with her life. And she ends up at this party as one of this influencer's fans. And so she ends up at this island as part of this party, but finds out as we kind of go along in the story that this island and this place that they're at is actually connected to her past. And all of a sudden, guests start disappearing. They start turning up dead. Horrible things start to happen. And all of a sudden, chaos reigns on this island. And she is trying to figure out what is happening. Why is my past coming back to haunt me? And it's just this party gone horribly wrong on this deserted island. So I am really excited to get into this one. I can definitely tell that this is going to be one I need to psych myself up for, because I think there's going to be a lot of tension, and I think her past is probably going to be really awful. So trigger warning there if you have anything about cults. I'm sure that she was not treated well, and there's probably a lot of trigger warnings that need to be just cautionary there, just in case. And so this is definitely one I'm excited to read. This is How Bad Things Can Get by Darcy Coates. Category, we're going to move into true haunted houses, hauntings, ghosts, things of that nature. And we are going to start off with a few books by Riley Sager. The first one is The House Across the Lake. Now, Riley Sager is not necessarily a horror novelist. I would say that he's more of a thriller, psychological thriller novelist, but sometimes he will throw in a supernatural, haunting vibe into his books, and this is one of them. So this is about a woman, and she is staying in her cabin on the lake, as she does, relaxing, drinking wine, doing the things that you do in a cabin on the lake. And she can see across the lake to this beautiful mansion across the lake. It is gorgeous. And a very well known man who's made millions of dollars lives there with his wife. And the front of this home is all glass. You can see into every room. And she happens to see some kind of not good going ons. Think Woman in the Window by oh, what's her name? I can't remember. Anyway, think Woman in the Window sees things across the way, that she probably shouldn't have seen. And her mind is like, what did I just see? And so this book is very tension filled. It's very, she doesn't she doesn't want to go to the police or make a big stink about it because she's not really sure what she saw. And so she makes trips back and forth across the lake in her boat. Like in the middle of the night, she's like investigating this home on her own in the dark. And she's taking risks that are just, she's going to get caught. This guy is not going to be happy. And she actually ends up making friends with the couple from this home in an effort to investigate them and to figure out what their deal is. And anyway, it almost, for the entire book, like for like 3/4 of this book, you think you know what's going on. Like, oh, okay, this is one of those, domestic thrillers, and the guy is bad, and you know what's going to happen. And then in the last quarter of the book, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Wait, what just happened? All of a sudden we have haunting and a ghost and things things just go off the rails at the end of this book. But I loved it. I know a lot of people did not like the supernatural ending to this book. I loved it because I'm a spooky girl and that's just what I like. But this is a really good read, a lot of tension, very much a thriller until you get to the end. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's not quite where I thought this was going, but it's fantastic. The scenes are very well written. It's very evocative, very eerie, fog across the lake. You can't, there's no city sounds. It's very quiet. You can hear everything. Sounds are echoing from their house to her house. And anyway, it's very, very eerie, very dread filled type of book. So this is House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Okay, this is another one by Riley Sager. This is Home Before Dark. And this one is almost the exact opposite of The House Across the Lake. So this follows a woman. Her family lived in a home when she was a child, and they only lasted, I want to say it was like 8 hours or something in this home before they packed up and left. She doesn't remember what happened during those 8 hours, but there's a lot of rumors, a lot of suspicion. There's a lot of things going on. Well, she when her father passes away, she ends up inheriting this home and has to go back and do all the things you do when you inherit this home. Her father wrote a book, a horror novel, basically, and it is the story of what happened in this house, except it's fiction and it's very dramatized and it's very so it's like it's kind of a book within a book is this, which is very fun. It makes it very interesting. And so all of her life, she's read the book, but she doesn't believe anything that happened in it because it's fiction and her dad wrote it, and he's just dramatizing things and whatever. I don't believe in any of that stuff anyway. But she can't remember what happened. And so when she goes back to this house and has to start cleaning it and figuring things out and whatever, there's a lot that goes on in this house. This house is definitely haunted, 100%. And weird things are happening, and there's like this really weird like grave site in the backyard, like in the forest. And so anyway, total haunted house, total supernatural, total hauntings, ghosts, doors opening by themselves, weird things are happening 3/4 of the way in this book. And then the last quarter of the book, it all culminates in this ending that you're like, what? Oh my gosh, I can't believe, what the heck? And it's crazy. And I loved this book. This is a great book. The ending, fantastic. Was not what I was expecting. Loved it all the same. Highly recommend this book. It's very, again, the way he writes scenes, you're very much there. You're very much in this very creepy haunted house, and you're hearing weird things, and it's very dread. It's very dread filled. And anyway, Home Before Dark, another one by Riley Sager, very good. Called The Haunting of Gillespie House. And this one is by Darcy Coates. She, again, remember, is one of my favorite authors. And this one I have read. I read it a couple of years ago. I've read a lot of Darcy Coates books. I read it a couple of years ago. It's not super long. I wouldn't call it a novella, but I wouldn't call it a novel either. It's not super long. Maybe I wouldn't even really call it a short story. But it's basically the story of this girl. Her name is Ellie, and she gets to house sit the Gillespie property. And it's at the edge of the woods. It's beautiful. It's a manor. It's got gardens, and it's got topiaries and statues. I mean, kind of think manor house type setup here. And she gets the opportunity to house sit for a month. And so she has loved this house forever, and she's so excited to get to explore. She wants to see all of the historic furniture. She wants to see all of the rich, dark rooms. It has its own cemetery, and she's excited to explore the tombstones. And this place is just, it's a monument. It's almost an attraction, but like it's not open for tours or anything, but it's that cool of a place. And so she is, staying there for a month, and she begins to experience strange happenings in Gillespie House. There's scratching in the walls. She's hearing things. She's seeing things, and she can't quite explain what's going on. But the house has a dark and deadly history. And all of a sudden, it becomes tangled with her. And so there's ghosts. This house, 100% haunted. And it all centers around Jonathan Gillespie, who was a tyrannical cult leader and the original owner of the home. And Ellie soon learns that just because he's dead does not mean he is gone. This book scared the crap out of me. This ghost is not nice. This is a poltergeist, 100%. And he is awful. He is terrible. And all of the ghosts that are in this home is anybody that he has ever messed with. They are stuck in this home with this horrible, terrible poltergeist. This house, terribly haunted, so haunted. It's not even funny. And anyway, this poor house sitter is in the middle of this horrible situation of ghosts. It just goes everywhere. And some of them she's trying to help some of these poor ghosts that have been stuck there, but at the same time she's like trying to fight for her life because there's this horrible, horrible poltergeist there. And oh my gosh, it's scary, it's terrifying, it's dreadful. We definitely get a little bit of like gothic vibes only because the manor is so old, but it's not set in gothic times, but I'm definitely getting a hint of that. um yeah, this is a scary book. This is tension filled 100%. So this is The Haunting of Gillespie House by Darcy Coates. Red Lake. And this is another one by Darcy Coates. And this actually is, I think, my favorite story by her. Um, Again, it's not like super long, but I wouldn't call it a short story. It's kind of, it's that perfect length where you're getting right into the story, you're getting right to the meat, and you go from there. And there's no, like, there's not a ton of backstory, there's not a ton of world building, there's not a ton of anything. You're right in the story, and you're from the get-go, you're going. So this story is about a struggling painter, and she's trying to basically paint her masterpiece to try and revitalize her career. And so she goes to this cabin on a lake, and it's kind of, it's not like soup it's, I don't want to say it's like a remote cabin that nobody goes to, because it is next to like a national forest. And so there's that aspect of it. Like, she's not totally away from like everybody and away from everything. She's like still there, but she's still isolated enough that she can concentrate on her work. She's not distracted. And so she's very focused and very much able to concentrate on doing this masterpiece. She was warned before she went to this cabin that the national forest is having an issue with injured hikers. There is somebody in the national forest that is hurting people. And they're not calling him a serial killer just yet, because um, most of the victims haven't been murdered, but somebody is definitely in the national forest hurting people. And so there's that worry that she has kind of in the back of her mind, but she doesn't let that stop her. And she still wakes up early in the morning, has her coffee, and then she goes into the national forest and she takes hikes to waterfalls or, naturey places to try and get inspiration for her painting. And like, she knows that there's, like, this is happening, like it's going on, but it's in the background for her. She's not really focused on it. Well, at night, sometimes she will see something on the dock, her dock that's attached to, her little beach where she's at on her lake house. She will see something at the end of her dock, a floating white light. Is it a ghost? Is it, we don't know what it is, but it's something just flickering like in the edge of her vision. So we kind of have this haunting ghost aspect going on. And there's other kind of weird, strange things that happen in this story as well. Just kind of odd and unusual goings on, things that she can't explain happening at her cabin. And she starts to kind of lose her focus on her painting, until now she's starting to focus more and more on what's going on at her cabin. Is it haunted? Who is this ghost? What is the message that this ghost is trying to leave me, if in fact it is a ghost? So she starts losing the painting aspect of it, and she starts going out on the dock every night. She starts trying to figure out what's going on with this, and she becomes obsessed with what's going on. with this kind of supernatural aspect that's happening at this cabin at the lake. And unfortunately, she loses sight of what's happening at the national forest. And so the serial killer guy, the guy that's hurting people in the national forest, has focused his attention on her. And so we have this thriller aspect where we have a live person, a very dangerous person coming after her. And then we have the supernatural aspect that she's obsessed with. She can't leave it alone. That's taking her attention off of this very real, dangerous threat to her. And then at the end, they collide. And the ending is spectacular. And I loved it. And that's all I'm going to say about this book. It's fantastic. It's called Dead Lake by Darcy Coates. Have How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I have read this one. Loved it. I read it last year for my spooky seasons read. And again, this book, Grady Hendrix, I swear, this is a satire. This is a sarcastic writing about haunted houses. How to sell a haunted house. It sounds sarcastic, right? This book was scared the crap out of me. I'm not even kidding you. It was horrifying. It was all my nightmares come true. So we have this house. It's actually not even an old house. It's actually not even like a Victorian house. It's not anything of a haunted house that you would even think of as a haunted house. This house is haunted AF. And so we have this brother and sister. They have inherited this house from their parents that have passed away, and they are trying to come to an agreement upon what to do with this house. The brother, we hate him. He's a total douchebag. He's such a jerk to his sister. He has no empathy, no feelings. He just wants the money from the sale of this house. And the sister is devastated by the loss of her parents and is trying to not only grieve, but then also she's trying to figure out what to do about this house. And her mother was a crafter, and as most crafty people do, has a room dedicated to her crafts. Her craft is making dolls and puppets. You guys, dolls and puppets that are haunted. No, 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 no. I can't even watch Chucky. That's like the scariest thing ever. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Dolls and puppets. This whole room is full of them. Full of dolls and puppets. Y'all, when this book gets going and it's the dolls and the puppets. Oh man, if check your trigger warning. Is there even a trigger warning for dolls and puppets? I don't know. There should be. Check it. Oh man. Anyway, and there's more. There's lots of there's scary things. This house is so dang haunted. Anyway, at the end, the brother and the sister, we finally see the brother starting to come around, and he's trying to help his sister at this house. It's like, have you ever watched the movie Poltergeist? And all of a sudden, like, the house is just swirling in a blue light because things have gotten so chaotic, and it's just like the culmination of all hauntedness. This house is it's the culmination of all hauntedness. And anyway, this book is crazy. It's crazy town is what this book is, but it's hysterical. It's scary AF. It terrified me just because I have a thing about dolls and puppets. But anyway, really love this book. It's witty, it's funny, it's terrifying, and I think you should read it this spooky season. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Moving on to our last category, Gothic horror. Think again, kind of that Victorian England, like, lends itself to that Gothic horror, right? Jack the Ripper, right? Like really creepy, eerie, foggy cobblestone street alleys, dark, dank, mildew. I don't know, gothic-y, right? Stormy mansions and flying bats and Dracula. And anyway, all those things scream gothic to me. So our next category is gothic, and we are going to start with these two books. So this is Phantasma. First, can I just show you guys? Oh, look at the edges. Aren't they amazing? I absolutely love it. Anyway, this is Phantasma. So this is set in those very kind of Victorian, I don't know that it's Victorian, but it's very, I almost think like New Orleans, right? Old time New Orleans, voodoo, witches, stormy nights and mystical goings ons and things like that. This is the vibe that's going on in this book. So we have two girls, sisters. Their mother has just died, and she has passed her power on to the oldest girl. And it is like communing with the dead. And I don't know that they call them witches or like mystics or something along those vibes. But anyway, and so now she has this power. And they're kind of shunned for it, but then they're kind of not at the same time. Like the whole community doesn't believe in the power of the supernatural, but then when it comes time to, you know, heal their baby or commune with their loved one about a will or something, then all of a sudden they believe, right? Like it's that type of thing. So the main character, the older sister, her younger sister goes missing. And she finds out that she has gone to this place called Phantasma. And this is basically a house, a huge haunted Victorian, I mean, all the things, right? And it is this house, but when you go inside this house, it's basically a game. It's think Hunger Games kind of, and ghosts and mythical creatures, and anything can happen in these games. These games, the contestants have to participate in these games, and then if they win, they get a boon from a demon or a high demon or a prince of hell, or I don't know, something like that. And so she doesn't care about any of that. She's just trying to find her sister, who she has been told is in these games. And so anyway, she meets a ghost, and his name is Blackwell, and he is yummy and scrummy, and we love Blackwell. And these games are very horrifying, and they are gory, and they are awful, and it is life or death, no joke. And anyway, it follows her in these games. She's trying to find her sister and then survive. And then Blackwell has made a bargain with her that he will help her in the games if she helps him do a favor for him. So she's trying to do that as well. And so anyway, it's a fascinating book. It is by Kaylee Smith. And then the sequel to that is Enchantra. And I have not read this. This is on my list for Spooky TBR. And this is about the younger sister that the older sister was searching for in the first book. This is the younger sister's book. And so I am excited to read this one as well. Next, for gothic horror vibes, we have Blood on Her Tongue. This is by Johanna von Veen. She is a writer from the Netherlands. And this is, if you have ever seen the movie Dracula with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. And at kind of the beginning of that movie, we have her friend Lucy, and Lucy has been changing. She's sick, and no one can figure out why. The doctor doesn't know what's wrong with her, but she's like in a fever, and she gets worse every day, and no one can figure out why. And she's just crazy. She's delusional. She's out of her mind. She's sweating. She's panting. She's just, no one knows what is going on with her. And then all of a sudden, she she seems normal, and then all of a sudden she's not. And she's really hungry, and she's something else entirely. Okay, that's this book. I have not read this book. It's on my TBR list. I'm going to read it. But this is basically, it's the Netherlands in 1887. So this is a historical book. Lucy's twin sister, Sarah, is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries-old corpse that has recently been discovered on her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by fever in the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition. But it's clear that her twin is hiding something, but then again, Lucy has secrets of her own. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the strange, and she becomes angry and hungry. So I am very excited to read this. This is giving me all the Gothic Dracula vibes, right? She's definitely hungry, and I think we know why. So that is Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna von Veen. Okay. Next, we have The Hacienda. And this is by Isabel. Oh no, I'm going to say this wrong. Cañas? I don't think I said that right. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at this. Anyway, this is a debut novel. So this is the first novel that she has written. And this is kind of Mexican Gothic meets Rebecca, is what the Mexican government has just been overthrown, and Beatrice's father has been executed, and her home has been destroyed. She accepts a proposal from this rich man, and she decides to accept, but there are rumors about his first wife going around, that something maybe untowed had happened to his first wife, but she ignores all that. She is obviously in a hard spot, and so she accepts the proposal, and they go to his hacienda in the countryside, and she is very excited to have her own home again, that she can kind of be in charge of. She can kind of take control. She can kind of do what she wants to with this home and kind of make it hers. But her husband has to return to work at the capital, and so she is left now alone with the staff in this hacienda. And all of a sudden, there's whispers, there's visions, she hears voices, and strange happenings start happening. This hacienda, 100% haunted. Rodolfo, who is the husband, his sister lives at the hacienda, and she is a non-believer. She's like, nothing's happening. It's all in your mind. It's all in your imagination. And so now Beatrice is starting to question her sanity. So we have a haunted hacienda, but then we also have a woman who now is wondering if she's mentally capable, if she's sane. And it kind of gives me almost House on Haunted Hill, Shirley Jackson, right? Those kind of vibes where it's not necessarily about the haunted house. It's about the woman slowly losing her mind. It's about the questioning of your mental faculties in these situations where it's like, is it haunted or is it me? Am I the one going crazy? Um, the cook burns incense. The doorways are marked in strange symbols. So clearly something is happening in this hacienda. There's something wrong with this hacienda, okay? Desperate for help, she finds a young priest who becomes her ally. And what we come to find out is that the priest is actually a witch, warlock, and he knows that there is a malevolent presence in this hacienda. And so he is not only trying to battle this malevolent presence, but he's also trying to help Beatrice understand that there is something wrong with the hacienda. It's not you. You are okay. You're sane. You're not going crazy. It's it's the hacienda. You're right. Supernatural is real. It exists, and this hacienda is bad news. And so, anyway, it's a battle of darkness, but it's almost a battle. It's almost a mental. We have a mental battle kind of going on, and then we also have the supernatural haunted hacienda going on as well. So it's giving me could haunted house, yes, but also very remote gothic vibes as well. So this is the Hacienda, oh no, by Isabel Cañas. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Okay, so that was all for my gothic vibes. You guys, there's hundreds of more books that you could put on your haunted TBR. So let me know down in the comments what is on your spooky TBR. I need book recs. I want to know what's out there. I am always looking for something good to read. You guys, I read spooky books all year long, okay? But October 1st is when it really hits. And every day I need a spooky book. I do have some honorable mention is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. You guys know this book. You've heard of this book. And I want to tell you, this book is literally the only book that I have ever read that made me scared of the dark. I have read some crazy books, okay? I have read some horrifying books. I've read, I don't even know how many Stephen King books. Dean Koontz, love him, okay? I've read a lot of books, and this book is the only book that scared me so much, I was afraid to go to sleep. I was afraid of the dark. As an adult, it scared me so bad. Okay, so Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. So this was actually a Reddit contest that he wrote a short story for called No Sleep. And it won and decided to make a novel out of it. And this is that novel, you guys. Okay, this book is so freaking scary. It's got, and I think what makes it scary, at least for me, is that there is this element of not truth. There's an element of cultural truth to this book. So he weaves this story in with Native American culture and their myths and their legends and their stories. And we know that a lot of Native American story is told through storytellers. There's not a lot of written records. And so a lot of their cultural beliefs and a lot of their cultural legends come through storytelling, generationally passed down. And he weaves that into the story absolutely beautifully. I learned so much about Native American culture. I grew up, my hometown was on it was next to an Indian reservation, and I grew up around Native American people. I've been to their cultural events. I've seen a lot of things, but you don't really get the opportunity to sit down and hear their stories and hear their culture and their legends unless you're actually part of their culture. And so this was really cool for me. About a couple, Faye and Felix are celebrating their new engagement, and they are up in this house on top of a cliff up in the mountains. It's snowing like crazy. They're like blizzarded in. And really, I mean, all they can hear is like themselves, right? There's not like city noises. There's not like it's just, they're blizzarded it in, and you know that snow quiet, that quiet when there's snow on the ground and there's nothing you can hear. It almost echoes with quiet. That's what it is for them. But then all of the sudden, they can hear ghostly noises, screams of animals, cries of children, and the babble of 100 mournful voices. A dark figure looms in the window in the dead of night, whispering to Faye, the woman. As the weather turns deadly and they're socked in and snowed in more and more and more, okay, they're stuck. Felix discovers that his fiance isn't just mumbling in her sleep, she's whispering back to the voices. Oh my gosh, you guys. At one point, Faye sleepwalks out into the forest and he discovers the creepiest things out there in the forest. He discovers that she's gone. He opens the door, sees her footprints, but like then there's like more footprints at one point, and there's like knocking on the door, and there's like figures outside. It's creepy. It's creepy as heck, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so honorable mention for Stolen Tons by Felix Blackwell. This book scared the living crap out of me and made me want to sleep with the lights on. It's really scary. If you guys have read this book, comment down below and tell me what you thought. Were you scared? This book scared the crap out of me. Anyway, all right. As always, with all of my book recommendation videos, this video's gone way over. I could talk about books forever and ever and be just happy as a bug in a rug. But I apologize that it's gone over. If you have any scary read recommendations, leave them down below for me, pretty please. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button while you're down there, I would also appreciate that. Until next time, bye.